Skaroulis, and this is the first of 3 videos to demo my full-stack banking application. In this video, I'll go over 3 high-level diagrams: architecture, authentication, and application. For my banking app, I used React for the application, Express for the server, and Firestore for the database. Generally, the UI components make HTTP requests to the server-side API endpoints. The endpoints use data access layer functions, which in turn call the Firebase client APIs. Eventually, the data ends up in non-relational collections. My banking application is split into 2 sections, private and public. Before users log in, they are restricted to the public section. After they log in, they can navigate through the components in the private section. The app's architecture is pretty simple. There is the root app component, accounts, which acts as the applicant's home, new account, transactions, and new transaction, where the user can make a deposit or withdrawal. Every page request the user makes starts at the app component. The app component does 2 things. It checks to see if an authentication token exists, and it routes the user to the appropriate component. So on every page request, the app component looks in local storage to see if a token exists. If a token exists, the user is logged in. The token is a JSON web token, commonly called a JOT. And we can decode the JOT to see what's in it by going to jwt.io. A JOT is simply an encrypted JSON object. In our case, the token is an encrypted JSON object that holds the user's email and the token's expiration timestamp. So when the user first arrives at the banking application, the app component looks for a token in the local storage, and if it doesn't find one, it sends the user to the login component. When the user logs in, a post request is sent to the sessions endpoint. The server checks with the database to see if the login credentials are valid. If they are valid, the server generates a new token and responds to the request with an HTTP 200 and the token. If the user's credentials are not valid, the server responds with a 401 and an error message. Once the user is logged in, we send the token to the server with every HTTP request. The server checks if the request arrived with a token and then decodes the token and checks the expiration timestamp. If no token arrived with the request or the token expired, then the server responds with a 401 and an error message. When the banking application gets a 401 error, it calls the logout component to do some cleanup and route the user to the login page. So the token plays a very important role in deciding whether the user can access the private side of the application or not. Thank you.